Hello from the Channel studio in London and welcome to another edition of Foreign Dispatches, the programme that takes you around the world in 25 minutes. I'm Teniola Oyetayo. On the programme this week, hundreds killed in Gaza hospital blast as Palestine civilians suffer in Israel-Hamas crossfire, plus Israel in mourning as it buries victims of a mass attacks. The Palestinian territory of Gaza, one of the most crowded places on earth, has been under near constant strikes by Israel in retaliation to surprise attacks by Hamas militants. The death toll continues to rise as this week saw the single bloodiest event of the conflict after a hospital in Gaza was hit. Both sides blamed each other for the strike.
As the death toll soars, Gaza's cemeteries are full. The Khan Yunis community is now burying the dead next to homes after days of Israeli airstrikes. Funerals are held street-side as cemeteries are not only too crowded, it's difficult to reach and dangerously near the most bombed border areas. Gaza has been under Israeli bombardment since Saturday, October the 7th. After Islamist militant group Hamas sent hundreds of fighters into Israel, killing 1,300 people and taking scores of hostages. Mohammed al-Laham sits next to her 4-year-old granddaughter, Fulla, in a hospital in Gaza. She says an Israeli airstrike hit the family home, killing 14 people, including Fulla's parents, siblings, and members of her extended family.
May God keep me alive to take care of her. She's the only person alive from her father's family. 14 people killed all at once. May God heal her. She's not talking or anything. I hope she will get better and God will be with her.
This hospital, like others, is operating on low supplies of medicine and fuel. Doctors at the Kamal Edwan hospital in the north of Gaza were ordered to evacuate south, but they refused to leave dozens of newborn infants who were receiving life-saving care. Dr. Hussam Abu Safia says doing so would mean handing them a death sentence.
If you want to kill us while we continue working here. We will not leave. We need days and weeks to secure another place. These children are mainly relying on medical equipment because they suffer from specific illnesses they were born with. There is no humanity in the world that can agree to disconnecting these children from this equipment and transferring them to another location. This is an insane act.
The flood of people arriving in the south has stretched resources that were already strained to a breaking point. Many displaced Gazans took refuge in this school, west of Khan Yunis. Among those displaced is 11-year-old Remas, who expresses that her life has been characterized by unending fear.
I've spent my 11 years in fear and anxiety. We left our home and stayed in the streets. There are strikes everywhere. It's all scary. The Israelis are attacking us. Even while we're here, they're attacking us and we're scared.
It's the same story for children at other refugee camps in the country.
I get scared when I'm not around people. At night, I sleep while hugging my father. Where should we go? There's no place to hide from airstrikes. All of our life is lived in misery. We don't know how to live. There is no one to save us.
Vital lifelines of food, water, medicine, fuel and electricity have been cut off by Israel in response to Saturday's bloody rampage and are now in short supply.
We urge the Israeli forces to avoid targeting civilians and civilian objects or conducting area bombardments, indiscriminate or disproportionate attacks, and to take precautions to avoid and in any event to minimize loss of civilian life, injury to civilians, and damage to civilian objects. Those who managed to comply with the Israeli authorities' order to evacuate are now trapped in the south of the Gaza Strip with scant shelter, fast depleting food supplies, little or no access to clean water, sanitation, medicine, and other basic needs.
On Tuesday, hundreds of people were killed in a blast at a hospital. Palestinian health authorities said it was caused by an Israeli airstrike, while the Israeli military blamed a failed rocket launch by the Palestinian militant group Islamic Jihad. The strike marks the single bloodiest event in Gaza of the war between Israel and Islamist militants.
I can confirm that an analysis of the IDF operational systems indicates that a barrage of rockets was fired by terrorists in Gaza, passing in close proximity to the El Hali El Mahdi hospital in Gaza at the time it was hit. Intelligence from few sources that we have in our hands indicates that the Islamic Jihad is responsible for the failed rocket launch which hit the hospital in Gaza.
Israel's continuous airstrikes have reduced parts of Gaza to rubble. Authorities in the enclave say that more than 2,400 people have been killed and thousands more injured. Israel says the siege on the Strip won't stop and there will be no humanitarian exceptions until hostages taken by Hamas are freed.
Meanwhile, as Israel still reels from the shocking and devastating Hamas attacks, funerals have been held across the country, even as many people are still missing or believed to be held hostage by Hamas. For 29-year-old Tal Nehushtai, the Nova Music Festival was the perfect getaway for him and a group of friends from his village. After a long evening of dancing, Tal had expected a quiet morning ahead. Instead, he and friends were woken up by gunshots from Hamas militants and found themselves hiding, then running for their lives. As he found safety in a nearby orange grove, two of his friends who remained behind were not so lucky. He's attending their funeral as the community buries the dead.
Yesterday we were in a friend's funeral, and in 1 hour we're going to another friend's funeral, someone from the village, 24 years old, that lost his life. Sharon Gordani came to enjoy with his friends, and he will not be in any more party again, and neither of us. All of Israel is going through a very heavy trauma.
On October the 7th, Hamas launched the unprecedented surprise attack on Israel, killing more than 1,300 people and making it the deadliest attack on civilians in the country's history. The Trance Music Festival, which was attended by thousands of young people, was among the militants' first targets, in which 260 people were killed and dozens were taken hostage. In a tight-knit country of just over 9 million people, nearly everyone knows someone who was killed, is missing, or is held hostage.
We lost a lot of friends, a lot of people, a lot of brothers to the dance floor. Still don't know what happened. We just know that we 1 minute fly over the sky. Everybody was free love, free spirit, and in matter of seconds it was a nightmare, hell, living hell. Don't know where they came from. It starts with a few rockets and then the blitzkrieg starts. We managed to run, pure instincts, just follow our instincts and God's supervision.
Tal has since been reunited with his family in his village of Kidron, but the trauma from the attacks remains.
Whoever was inside got slaughtered brutally. Stuff that you hear in the Holocaust. They came there only to torture the people. The terrorists slaughtered the police outside. They slaughtered the kids inside with machine guns, with grenades, with whatever they could. They went shelter after shelter and killed, murdered everybody. Cold blood, like a game. They threw grenades inside. they shoot their Kalashnikov inside this. It was a nightmare. I feel still injured from the war we participated. We saw very bad stuff. We saw bodies and we saw people get murdered. I feel safe that I'm home, but the war has not yet finished.
Israel has vowed to destroy Hamas in retaliation for the attacks. Israeli jets and artillery have subjected Gaza to the most intense bombardment it has ever seen, putting the region home to 2.3 million Palestinians under total siege and killing at least 2,450 people, according to Gaza authorities.
It is beyond belief that some still speak of a right to self-defense of an occupying power that has made clear it is seeking blind vengeance, forced transfer, and annihilation of our people. A political disaster is underway, and yet the Security Council of the United Nations is unable to say the only thing that truly matters: stop the bloodshed. Killing more Palestinians will never make Israel more secure. 75 years of experience should have been proof enough for those who want to learn.
So far, this council has not even condemned Hamas for the atrocity it perpetrated, let alone held Hamas fully responsible for the situation in Gaza. But here we are, discussing humanitarian corridors. Does nobody else see how ludicrous this is? Calling for calm, restraint, and ceasefires is like putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. Such steps will not eradicate the cancer that is Hamas. Humanitarian corridors will not prevent the next atrocity. The only thing that will is the utter obliteration of this satanic entity.
As Israeli airstrikes continue to pound Gaza, the United States stepped up support for Israel with a visit by the US president.
I've seen your support every day in the depth and breadth of cooperation that we have had since the beginning of this war. A level of cooperation that is truly unprecedented in the history of the great alliance between our two nations. We see that support in your steadfast commitment to provide Israel with the tools we need to defend ourselves. We see that support in the clear message you've sent our enemies not to test our resolve, and in the 2 American carrier battle groups that you sent to the region to back up those words with action. But above all, Mr. President, the world sees that support in the moral clarity that you have demonstrated from the moment Israel was attacked.
Well, Mr. Prime Minister, thank you very much. Look, folks, I wanted to be here today for a simple reason. I want the people of Israel, the people of the world, to know where the United States stands. Israel, as they respond to these attacks, it seems to me that have to continue to ensure that you have what you need to defend yourselves. And we're going to make sure that occurs, as you know. And we have to also bear in mind that Hamas does not represent all the Palestinian people. And it has brought them only suffering.
Meanwhile, in the biggest sign yet that the war could spread to a new front, Israel ordered the evacuation on Monday of 28 villages near the Lebanese border. Lebanon's Hezbollah movement said it had targeted 5 Israeli positions. Clashes this last week have been the deadliest in the Lebanon border area since a 2006 war between Israel and Hezbollah, which, like Hamas, is an ally of Iran. When Foreign Dispatches returns in just a moment, we shift focus to Afghanistan's Herat region, where fearful families are living in tents after the country's 7th earthquake in just 8 days. That's after the break. Please stay with us. Thanks for staying with us on the program. A 6.3 magnitude earthquake has struck western Afghanistan just over a week after powerful quakes and aftershocks killed thousands of people and flattened villages in the same region. Emergency relief teams in Herat province say some residents remain living in tents outdoors for fear of more quakes. The earthquakes on the 7th of October were among the most destructive in the country's recent history. Piles of rubble are all that remains of Sia Ab village, a remote settlement once home to 300 families, settled in the barren landscape of Herat. The once neat rows of mud brick houses collapsed after a powerful earthquake on October the 7th. Alif Balok is the only survivor of a family of 7. He lost 3 daughters, 2 sons, and his wife. He survived because he was living in Iran at the time. He has just arrived and is now living alone in a tent near his collapsed home.
When
I got back home, I didn't see any of my loved ones except these clothes. That is what is left behind, and I was left alone with just my God. Let me find somewhere else to live, or I will start living with my brother. But if that doesn't work, I will just be living a life as a lone survivor.
There are dozens of other families who have entirely lost their lives during the earthquake.
I was outside when the earthquake hit and I didn't know what was happening. When the earthquake passed, I came home and saw that my daughters were beneath the collapsed walls of our home. My other daughter broke her arm.
Our village was prosperous, but it was destroyed by the earthquake. Our whole life was destroyed. In the first earthquake, the houses were slightly destroyed, but the second earthquake destroyed everything.
Limited aid makes relief work difficult. Afghanistan's healthcare system, reliant almost entirely on foreign aid, has faced crippling cuts in the 2 years since the Taliban took over, and much international assistance, which had formed the backbone of the economy, was halted.
The information that we've got from our assessment that we've completed is about 66,300 people directly impacted across 6 primary districts. There have sadly been just shy of 1,500 people killed and around 2,000 injured. The majority of those killed and injured were actually killed and injured in the first earthquake that took place on the 7th of October. After which many people left their homes and actually residing outside in either makeshift or temporary shelters as well, out of fear that there may be additional aftershocks and their houses may collapse.
What we need to see in Afghanistan, this is a disaster on top of a disaster on top of a disaster on top of a disaster. Currently, we have 15 million people who do not know where their next meal will come from. And the World Food Programme is only able to support 3 million people due to a massive funding shortfall. So we're really calling on the international community to support the Afghan people, stand in solidarity, and also support the World Food Programme.
According to Afghan authorities, the death toll in the quake-affected western provinces, mainly in Herat, has surpassed 2,400. This makes it among the world's deadliest so far this year, after quakes in Turkey and Syria killed an estimated 50,000 people. And finally on the program, in South Africa, a Nigerian festival brought the spirit of Nigeria to life, featuring exciting activities, delicious food, and electrifying live music performances. Those behind the event say its main goal is to celebrate African culture and promote unity among Africans, upholding the ideals of Pan-Africanism. Our South African correspondent, Innocent Samosa, has more.
The city of Johannesburg experienced the rich and diverse culture of Nigeria. Families and friends gathered in unity to enjoy a day filled with festivities. The Festival of Nigeria was a colorful spectacle showcasing various aspects of Nigerian culture.
This event is designed just to rebrand Nigeria, our citizens, our people, to the entire world, to tell them about our culture and what we do. Nigeria, like you all know, we are called the happy people. We also see as a great nation. So great nations, good people. So this is just an activity or a step to show to the world what we are, our culture, our cuisine. I mean, there are so many things, and so that's what we're doing.
Beyond that, it's even a program that will enhance social cohesion within Nigerians and South Africans, because we need to start putting forward our best foot, and we also need to start looking as individuals how we need to close the gap between Nigerians and South Africans, because there's a lot we can do in common.
The president-elect of NICASA, Reverend Frank Onyekwelu, says this will help to promote African unity.
If you look at the map of Africa, Nigeria and South Africa are positioned in a very dramatic way. If you turn the map a little bit up, it will look like a gun. That South Africa is the nozzle, Nigeria is the trigger. So there is a unison between these two.
The event featured a fantastic array of festivities, including live music performances that had the crowd dancing to Afrobeat and traditional Nigerian tunes.
And I'm really glad to be here to at least meet some of my Nigerian family. I can already see some of them, so it feels nice. I can see the festival is going on nice. The art, the paintings, some of the dresses, the foods, the artists that are going to perform. Yeah.
The host nation, South Africa, also had the opportunity to learn about the Nigerian culture.
I learned that Nigerians love their food. Oh my gosh. So jollof rice, they did not want us to mention that Ghanaians have jollof rice as well. So you can't, it's a fight that you can't come in between. So Nigerians love their food. But other than that, I mean, I'm still going throughout the day and seeing everything. I saw some nice paintings as well. The clothes, beautiful.
Shoppers had the opportunity to explore a bustling market with an array of products from clothing to handcraft items, reminiscent of Nigeria's market.
I love Nigeria. I love Nigeria. I love my Nigeria.
South Africans are telling me that the Nigerian community in South Africa have demonstrated the power of cultural exchange and unity.
Delicious Nigerian cuisines was available, allowing attendees to savor the unique flavors of Nigeria. Innocent Samosa for Foreign Dispatches.
And that's the program today. But remember, our top stories are never far away. You can catch them on channelcv.com. Thank you for watching. I'm Teniola Oyetayo. Bye for now.